Good morning, YouTube.
Order at mypillow.com or call 1-800 toll-free 716-4879. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, or call 1-800-716-4879. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Whoa.
The opinions
Here we
expressed
go.
on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
The Steve Kane Show is live in Morning Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. weekdays, and overnights, midnight till 6 a.m., 7 nights a week.
Here we go.
To call the show toll-free, 1-888.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It is Monday morning already. I'll tell you, the weekends go by too quick, don't they? It's Monday, and we're back to normal. No hurricanes, no problems here in Florida. It's September 9th, 2019. Welcome back, one and all. Oh boy, lots going on, lots to talk about. Sharpie Gate settled last week, right? Over the weekend, NOAA came out and said President Trump was right, as he always is. So Sharpie Gate has been settled, and the mainstream media meltdown will move on to the next phony scandal. We've got a lot to talk about. I was just looking on Facebook, a post from a friend of mine, fellow broadcaster, radio talk show host Rich Stevens, formerly of 850. 850 made a very poor programming choice by taking Rich Stevens off the air over there. But anyway, Rich Stevens was on Facebook this morning, and he put up a Facebook post about the Bahamas and the death toll in the Bahamas. You know what? Let me pull it up. I was reading it on my phone, and now I'm using my phone to stream on YouTube, so I can't pull it up on my phone. Let me pull it up here on my computer, because, you know, I had been thinking about what he was talking about on Facebook this morning. And it's, of course, the devastation in the Bahamas with Hurricane Dorian, because, I mean, they just got totally slammed in the Bahamas. This is what Rich Stevens wrote. He says that this was in the middle of the night. Well, I guess 11 o'clock last night. I was fast asleep. Rich was up. Rich Stevens, he wrote this on Facebook. Huge cover-up in regard to the awful tragedy in the Bahamas. Wondering why the mainstream media isn't reporting on it. The number dead is nowhere near the real number. Now, this is Rich Stevens on Facebook. I haven't seen this reported, but he writes here on Facebook, Rich Stevens, they are literally stacking bodies up at a supermarket, and they have been. The real count is not 45, it is way higher. And there are people commenting, thousands are dead. Someone wrote here, Haitian pirates are attacking boats trying to bring relief, and the smell of death is in the air in the Bahamas. You know, I am shocked. Those that don't live in Florida may not realize, I know I mentioned this last week after the hurricane. The Bahamas is only 50 miles from Florida. I mean, that's absolutely crazy when you think about it. The first Bahamas, the Bahamas are vast, lots of islands, but Bimini, which is a small little island, is just Bimini, Bahamas, just 50 miles from Florida. And in Florida, most everyone who lives in Florida, certainly South Florida, have been to the Bahamas, right? If they're an adult, because that's just, it's a very cheap little getaway. I've been to the Bahamas many, many times over the years. And we have a lot of Bahamians here in South Florida. And I assumed when this devastating hurricane hovered over the Bahamas for how long? What was it, 2 days, 3 days? I mean, it was just terrible. Cat 4, Cat 5 winds, and seriously sustained winds when that hurricane went over and the eye passed over the Bahamas. And then after the eye passes over, you get the hurricane all over again because you get the backside of it. It was terrible. And I am shocked at how little coverage there has been out of the Bahamas. Why would they not cover this story, the mainstream media? I have a theory as to why, which I'll tell you in a moment. But my wife donated some money over the weekend to some groups helping the Bahamas. I'll see if my wife can post this up on my social media later. There's a group up in Stewart that is flying relief out of the airport in Stewart to the Bahamas. It's a big boating community up in Stewart, so they have a lot of connection to the Bahamas. We've donated some money to the Red Cross, and I was a little surprised that we haven't seen really any coverage from the Bahamas. And the Bahamas have got to be pretty much wiped out. I mean, some of the footage we saw right during the storm and right after, pretty devastating. And when I hear only 45 lost, although 45 is a lot of people, that's tragic. I mean, that's awful. But I just thought that how could it be so low when they got hit so hard and for so long? Because the Bahamas don't have mountains like a lot of other places in the Caribbean do to break the winds. And I've never known a hurricane to hit with such strength in this area ever since I've been around. And it's just devastating. So why is the media not covering the Bahamas? And I'll tell you why the media is not covering the Bahamas. And I think most of you out there probably can figure this out before I tell you. But the media cannot use the Bahamas to destroy Trump's reputation, because all the media care about in this country is hurting Donald Trump, right? Everything. Yeah, someone's telling me here Wings Plus did a relief drop to help the Bahamas. Yeah, a lot of people are helping the Bahamas. But the mainstream media only care about stopping President Trump's re-election, and there's no way for them to exploit, at least not yet, I guess, the tragedy in the Bahamas, because it's not the United States, or it's not a United States territory like Puerto Rico. You know, the media coverage, if you really look at the media coverage between the Bahamas, which is almost non-existent, and Puerto Rico. Well, Puerto Rico, obviously a U.S. territory, but the coverage completely different. They were lying, and still do today, the mainstream media, about the loss of life in Puerto Rico. They were telling us there were 3,000 dead in Puerto Rico after that hurricane a couple years back, which is complete nonsense. Where are the graves? I mean, that 3,000. So they're telling us there was a loss of life in Puerto Rico greater than the loss of life during the attack on Pearl Harbor, and an equivalent loss as to September 11th. Where are the bodies? And one thing I would tell people, when that lie was being promoted so heavily about Puerto Rico, is, Puerto Ricans are, as a group, Catholic, strong family, large families. If 3,000 are dead from the hurricane in Puerto Rico, there's got to be 15,000 grieving family members somewhere, because the Puerto Rican family is so large. Where are the graves? And just a total made-up number. And, Puerto Rico got hit pretty hard. The problem Puerto Rico had after the hurricane hit is that the Puerto Rican government is just corrupt down there. They're completely corrupt, just like Ray Nagin after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, just corrupt. And that's how Democrats are, I guess, just corrupt by nature. So you have the mainstream media hugely inflating the death toll in Puerto Rico, and the same mainstream media are not even covering, and greatly underreporting, according to Rich Stevens, the loss of life in the Bahamas. I hope the loss of life is only 45, but that would be a miracle when you look at some of the damage. So, the media have one mission and one mission only: soil the reputation of President Trump. That's what they're all about. They wake up every day. How can we damage President Trump? How can we cause him to lose support? How can we bring him down in the polls? What can we bring up today to get a discussion going about his corruptness? Last week it was Sharpiegate. That was put to bed when Noah came out and said the president was right. And then now they're trying to make some scandal out of his Scottish golf club that the vice president stayed there and some others. Are you kidding me? No. So, no, the media can't be trusted. And, I pulled the plug on the cable news long ago. I watch very little of it. I'm more informed, and I feel better, too. I feel better because they're just out to make you feel bad if you're a Trump supporter. But, that's the only reason I can think of. Or the media just don't care. See, the media, the mainstream media, they're liberal activists. And they don't care about the things they care about. They care about exploiting tragedies to promote the liberal narrative. For example, something we talk about a lot. Every time there's a god-awful mass shooting, there'll be a weekend in Chicago, like this past Labor Day weekend, where there were over 40 people shot in Chicago over Labor Day weekend. I don't know how many died. Was it 45 shot or killed? Because a lot of people get wounded and don't die in these. And I don't see Beto or any of the Democrats or the mainstream media in Chicago or Black Lives Matter in Chicago up there trying to deal with the gun violence epidemic of Chicago. But when there's an incident at Walmart or the tragedy we had, sadly, locally a couple years back, they're all over that because they can use those incidents to further their agenda. The mainstream media, the Democrat activists, when they look at the death toll in Chicago, they can't see 45 shot, 7 dead. Okay. They can't see a way to exploit it for their own agenda because they're in Chicago, it's gang violence, guns that are illegally possessed. And a lot of the gang violence is conflicts between Black and Hispanic gangs. And of course, the Hispanic gangs would be made up of a lot of people that are illegal and shouldn't even be here. So they don't want that discussion even taking place. And similar thing in between Puerto Rico and the Bahamas, because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory governed by the president in the United States, and they're Hispanic. They wanted to further this narrative that he hates Hispanics, so they were using Puerto Rico for that while they don't cover the Bahamas. And the Bahamas is in serious need. They're part of the British Commonwealth. I don't think the Brits are doing much. I saw a story that the Brits were sending a ship. Oh, well, thanks a lot, England. The Bahamas being only 50 miles from the United States, 50 miles from the Florida coast, the Bahamas really depends on the United States to help them in the aftermath of this god-awful hurricane that hit the Bahamas. And if the media would cover the Bahamas properly, there's a lot of relief going there now, right? Like Wings Plus did a relief drop. My wife's donated. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in Florida that are doing a lot for the Bahamas because we have a connection. But there would be a lot more relief heading towards the Bahamas if the media would cover it. But they don't care. They don't care. See, Black Lives Matter, but apparently not Black Bahamian lives to the mainstream media. The only Black lives that matter to them are Black lives that they can exploit to hurt President Trump's reputation. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. It's Monday, 17 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. We'll be back after this.
Attention all Barry's Vitamins customers. All the vitamins and supplements you know and love are available at Save-A-Lot Nutrition Centers, and the prices are a fraction
Steve
of
Kane
what
Show.
you were paying before. Stop in.
Steve
or
Kane
call
Show.
Save-A-Lot. Save-A-Lot Nutrition Centers is located
The
a half
cranks
mile
are
south
out,
of Sound
talking about
Road
people
on the
losing their
west side of
lives and
State
everything,
Road
and the
7
trolls,
in
on the
Dodge
phone.
Plaza. Speak with Al. He's the owner. Tell him what supplements you were looking for, and he will be more than happy to get you the supplements you need. Save-A-Lot Nutrition Centers, 754-307-1655. 754-307-1655.
Steve Kane Show. Hey. Oh, what's going on?
Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is quickly approaching. Make sure you get the right coverage. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
This is Roger Simon, reverse mortgage specialist at South Florida's Choice Mortgage Bank. I've found that reverse mortgages can be a very valuable financial vehicle for seniors. I truly change their lives for the better. In fact, I have a reverse mortgage myself, and it's certainly improved my life. Everyone's situation, of course, is different, but I've found over and over that a reverse mortgage can solve many of a senior's financial problems. It's a valuable tool to allow you to age in place. And if you're a senior like me, that's a primary goal. By aging in place, I mean that you're financially able to stay in the home you love for the rest of your life. So if you own your home with or without a mortgage, and if you want to know how a reverse mortgage can change your life by giving you the financial freedom you need, find out how by giving me a call anytime at 561-441-2730. That's 561-441-2730. I look forward to hearing from you.
Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender NMLS 166254.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. If Black Lives Matter, why is the mainstream media not really reporting at all on the situation in the Bahamas? I say they haven't found a way to exploit it to hurt Donald Trump. Oh, boy. All right. Good morning, Richie the bus driver. You're on the radio.
Yeah, good morning. It's very simple, especially for you, for me. We live in Florida, okay? The fact is that if you remember when President Trump and Melania went down there and they wanted that big covered tent with the water and the toilet paper and
Yeah.
happy and everything. Well, the media twisted that and said he disrespected them because he threw toilet paper at them. Then they spent weeks saying that, showing every day how Puerto Rico wasn't being helped by this president, that it was a bunch of sorry.
Yeah.
Basically, and they didn't show anything about the corruption, which they proved.
Yeah, it is. I'll get into that in a bit.
And everything else, that the whole thing is and all corruption there, and they proved it later, but they didn't retract what.
So we know. I know. We know. Don't need the whole review of Puerto Rico. What do you think? Why is the media, Richie, not reporting on the loss of life in the Bahamas? Why are they covering that up?
Well, the reason is because not one Bahamian can vote for president.
That's right. Because that's right. Yeah, the vote. Because if you remember, in Puerto Rico, Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, but they cannot vote because it's a territory. And after the hurricane, what they did was use cruise ships to ship Puerto Ricans to Florida by the thousands. In fact, they shipped about 250,000. And what they were doing was establishing residency for them by putting them up in hotels and motels so that they could get them registered to vote. And they tried to sway the last election with our governor and new senator unsuccessfully. But that's exactly right. Yes.
Puerto Ricans, if you talk to them in South Florida and Central Florida, and Orlando, they hate the President of the United States because the media, which is the biggest enemy of all, not the Democratic Party, the media is the worst of all of them because they have a narrative and they have made it look, it's not just to make President look bad, it's to get Puerto Rican
That's right.
to hate the President to vote against them so they can.
Well, that's exactly right. They used the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico as a way to try to, well, commit fraud in the election here in Florida the last time around. That's right. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, he's going to have a tough time because the Puerto Rican vote in Florida is because we've been infested with them because of what happened in the island. And guess what? They were all voting Democrat. They hate Trump because of the media.
Well, a lot of the Puerto Ricans they shipped here went back home. They put a lot of the Orlando area is a sanctuary community. So of the 250,000 Puerto Ricans, most of them went to Orlando. And if you're outside of the theme parks, Orlando's a dump. And they live in that beautiful tropical paradise. And they were putting them up in motels and everything. A lot of them went back.
Well, I hope that's the case. Not because I don't like Puerto Ricans. I don't like the way Puerto Ricans vote.
No, I don't either. I don't like people that vote Democrat either.
do it. And as for the Bahamians, they could care less because they can't give them.
That's right. See, that's all Democrats care about are votes. If Bahamians could vote, they would. That's all you would hear about all day is the Bahamas and shipping everyone in the Bahamas to Florida to try to turn Florida blue. But it's very difficult to do that. And Caribbean, Caribbean blacks are much different than American blacks. Caribbean blacks are very conservative. And you will find among the Bahamians that we have in Florida, you find a lot of Republicans. Yeah, they do.
Statements on the news, the parts that courage take on for the American government. They, but they won't give Trump the credit for this.
No. All right, Richie, appreciate the call. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize this. In Florida, we have a lot of people in Florida from the Caribbean, right? Jamaica, Haiti, Bahamas, And blacks from the Caribbean are very conservative and Republican and vote Republican. They don't vote Democrat. And, in the Bahamas, even if they don't mind, the Democrats don't mind registering foreign nationals to vote illegally. They do this out west like crazy. I mean, look at California, right? And other states out west. But if they brought shiploads of Bahamians to Florida and registered them to vote, the Democrats understand that the Bahamians would vote for Donald Trump, not for whoever the Democrat is. So, that's the way it is, and that's why they don't care. See, Democrats only care about one thing and one thing only, power, right? This is not new. You've been hearing this. Every talk show host that's a conservative in America for decades has been telling you that. All that Democrats care about is being in power. And they can't exploit Bahamians to turn Florida blue. If the Bahamas were Puerto Rico, believe me, there would be a complete evacuation, and they would have as many of them here. If the Bahamians would vote Democrat, they would have them here, even though they wouldn't be U.S. citizens and couldn't legally vote. But they know that Bahamians would vote for Donald Trump. The Bahamian vote down here in South Florida goes for Republicans time and time again, even before President Trump was on the scene. Don Lemon is in a complete panic, Don Lemon. And let me see if I can play this.
Okay, so let me just, because
let me play this.
You can put those back up just so you know. So under Obama, as you said, March 2010, 16.8%. The end of his presidency, 7.9%. That is a difference of 8.9%. Okay? So Trump's highest was 8%. That was in February of 20.
See, now what Don Lemon is doing here, Don Lemon has two guys that are black pundits on his show, and he is trying to tell viewers of his program on CNN that black unemployment was actually lower under Barack Obama. That's right. That's right.
17. Now it's at 5.5%. That is down 2.5%. So we have 8.9% in the Obama presidency and down by 2.5% in this presidency. As you said, it is good news. It is a good trend, but it didn't start under this president.
Yeah, it started under Obama. That's right.
Much stronger under the former president. How do black voters in 2020 weigh these low employment numbers against the president's racist behavior, Joseph? Charlottesville, Flint.
I love how people like Don Lemon, the president's racist behavior, they never give you an example of the racist behavior other than the Charlottesville lie. So Don Lemon is in a complete panic because he's trying to tell you that Barack Obama is responsible for the high employment rate and the low unemployment numbers in the black community. That's insane. What policy did President Obama bring to office that led to this, Don Lemon? The thing about Donald Trump, when Donald Trump, this is what they do with the numbers. When it became obvious, before election night, when it became obvious that Donald Trump was going to be the next president or had a good shot at being the next president, the economy started turning around in all kinds of ways because the economy is based on what the future holds for the economy. And so in the last few months of the Obama administration, there were some economic gains, but those were because of President Trump, because the financial powers that be saw this very pro-business capitalist guy, Mr. Monopoly, becoming president of the United States, and they knew that was good for business. So they started buying things up. So they point to those last couple months of the Obama presidency when the economy started to pick up because Donald Trump was president-elect, or he was about to become president-elect, and they act as if Obama did something. If you remember when the campaign was going on and President Trump was talking about what he was going to do for the economy. Remember what Obama said? Obama was making fun of Donald Trump. He says, what's he going to do? Wave a magic wand? Well, apparently he did wave that magic wand. And Don Lemon is in a complete panic because the black vote is moving more and more Republican, and in particular Donald Trump. And after this break at the bottom of the hour, I'll tell you why that is. And it's not just the economy. My name's Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire of Margate, where they have all the major name brand tires like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Sienna van at the other tire shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the tire shops around town. Friendly Tire, only $65. That's more than a 50% savings. Those prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of used tires too at $30 for most sizes. Call my good buddy Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone.
Man.
954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
This is Roger Simon, Reverse
Yes.
Mortgage
Make sure you guys
Specialist
subscribe
at South
on
Florida's
YouTube.
Choice Mortgage Bank. I've found
Brian
that
Craig on
reverse
YouTube.
mortgages
Subscribe.
can
Click
be
that
a very
notification bell.
valuable financial vehicle for seniors. I truly changed their lives for the better. In fact, I have a reverse mortgage myself, and it's certainly improved my life. Everyone's situation, of course, is different, but I've found over and over that a reverse mortgage can solve many of a senior's financial problems. It's a valuable tool to allow you to age in place. And if you're a senior like me, that's a primary goal. By aging in place, I mean that you're financially able to stay in the home you love for the rest of your life. So if you own your home with or without a mortgage, if you want to know how a reverse mortgage can change your life by giving you the financial freedom you need, find out how by giving me a call anytime at 561-441-2730. That's 561-441-2730. I look forward to hearing from you.
Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166254.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with
Oh, you got food poisoning? Yeah. It was awful. I got over it finally. It was a rough Friday, I'll tell you.
When you complete your trust with attorney Barry
Drinking so much water, I think I flushed it out of me. I felt terrible on Friday.
Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeart.
All righty, yeah, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. You know, Roger Simon over there at Choice Mortgage. Choice Mortgage has been with the Steve Kane Show for quite some time. Remember, Emmanuel was with us? Well, he's still there, but Roger Simon was actually working with Emmanuel back then on the reverse mortgage, part of their business over there, and he was handling the reverse mortgages back then. And, you know, a reverse mortgage is just absolutely a savior for so many seniors. It really is because, you know, the largest investment that most people make is in their home. And as crazy as it sounds, the largest investment most people make, their home, is the one investment that people least are likely to take advantage of because you work hard, you pay off the house, and you pass, you leave it to the kids. You never really take advantage of that equity. And, you know, with a reverse mortgage, you pay off that mortgage if you have one, You can you live in the home for the rest of your life and the rest of the life of your spouse. That's right. That's right. And, with that money that you get, you can do whatever you want to do with that money. You can travel, you can go shopping, you can buy another home closer to the kids and grandkids. You can put the money in the bank just to have that security and that feeling that you have money in the bank. You can take a monthly little bit of income from that money to supplement your Social Security or whatever other retirement you may or may not have. It's absolutely amazing. And I have talked to so many people over the years who are listeners to this program who have taken advantage of a reverse mortgage. And it is such a lifesaver. People pay off their debt. It's amazing. Listen, call Roger Simon. He has a reverse mortgage himself, and it really made a big difference in his life. He had some things going on in his life. He took advantage of a reverse mortgage, and it changed his life as well. Call Roger Simon. 561-441-2730. That number is good 24 hours a day. So if you're an overnight listener, call in the middle of the night. If you have to leave a message, that's okay. They'll call you back. 561-441-2730. 561-441-2730. Yeah, so the black vote going Republican, going Trump. The black vote is going Trump and going Republican for a lot of reasons, okay? Not just because the economy is doing incredibly well under President Trump. That's a big part of it, but not the only reason. Donald Trump is not the stereotypical Republican that we've had over the years. He just really isn't. He on some social issues, he's a little liberal, but he's a well-known person. And his fame, the fame of Donald Trump and the Trump brand, if you think about it, before he was running for office, what the Trump brand stood for was making it in America, right? And the American people, including the black community, Americans have always had a great respect for Donald Trump. He's been a national celebrity since the 80s. That's why they gave him that show, The Celebrity Apprentice with Mark Burnett on NBC. They created that show around him because Donald Trump, if they made Monopoly today, it would not be that little Monopoly man. It'd be Donald Trump. And because he was such a successful businessman and built this incredible brand, they created this show, The Apprentice, around him. And people, not only do people respect Donald Trump, they respect how he made his money. A lot of these trust fund guys that inherit a few $1 million from their rich parents live a life like the Kennedys, right? Getting drunk and getting involved in all kinds of scandals and all these things all the time. Not Donald Trump. And people have respected him, including the black community. Another thing, too, with the black vote, and one of the reasons the black vote has been leaning Republican since Trump came down the escalator is that, you have a generation of black voters now that are not hung up as much as the media would like you to think on all of these racial issues. They never experienced segregation. They didn't even experience busing, and it's just not their reality. And Barack Obama, a black president, became president when they were young kids, and now they vote. And that's just the way things are now. We have, as much as the left are trying to stop this, we have equality in America. People of different ethnicities and religions get along very well, even though the left are always trying to put us at each other's throats. And, you have a generation of young black voters that are not hung up on all of this racist BS that's promoted by the media. And I got to tell you, when Don Lemon calls President Trump a racist, get out of town here, Don Lemon. Are you kidding me? The biggest promoter of negative stereotypes about black Americans are the left. Hollywood, movies, television. That's it. I mean, how are blacks portrayed in movies and in television shows as a group? Not very well, right? As gang, and look at music. Look at the music industry. That's the negative stereotypes about black people in American society today are not coming from from the conservative community, they're coming from the left. And that's the way it is. And the reason that Don Lemon and other Democrats are very upset that about black economic successes is not just because it helps Trump, but once any community becomes successful, they tend to start voting Republican, and the left are in a panic mode over losing the black vote because the black community is becoming more and more financially successful in our country, and they just can't handle when people aren't dependent on them. The Democrats want people dependent on them, and when they are not dependent on them or the government, they lose them and they go Republican. Look at what's going on with these the Dreamers, these DACA Dreamers. The Democrats have been keeping the Dreamers in limbo for years by design, because the last thing the Democrat Party wants, Schumer and Pelosi, would be for every Dreamer in this country to be granted U.S. citizenship, because if they were, they would lose a lot of them. They keep the Dreamers on the side of the Democrat Party because the Dreamers are always afraid of deportation. Their status has not really been solid. It's always, there's an extension. They got 2 years, 3, however amount of time it is. So they're in a constant state of fear, and the Democrats are always teasing them that they want to help them, but they can't. So Donald Trump goes to Schumer and Pelosi to settle the issue, and look what happens. Schumer and Pelosi stop them from getting their permanence. Remember that? It was the worst nightmare. The worst nightmare of the Democrats is that the Dreamers are granted U.S. citizenship or permanent status and have no problems or fears ever again. That's the left. That's the left. They want people dependent upon them. And because they know when people become independent, they lose them to the Republican Party. Prior to the housing crisis, the number of black families owning homes was at an all-time high. This was before the collapse, right? Black home ownership was going through the roof, the highest levels ever under George W. Bush. And the left were in a panic about that. And when there was a housing crisis, the housing crisis was the subprime mortgage crisis. The reason that minority home ownership was rising so high and so fast is because they were giving subprime loans to people that didn't have proof of income or ID or anything. They were giving loans to people with no money down, and they were getting $400,000 houses. And when the subprime mortgage crisis happened, and there was a complete crash in the housing market, and the foreclosures were going through the roof, the Democrats were jumping for joy, because remember, it's not thought about this way when people talk about the housing crisis, but the real description for the housing crisis was the subprime mortgage crisis. The subprime mortgage crisis. Now, that affected homeowners that weren't subprime or didn't go into foreclosure because there was, it caused property to lose value, which is on paper a lot of money, But the left, that was the best news they heard, because people that were getting foreclosed on, for the most part, were subprime mortgage holders, and a huge chunk of them were minority. And they knew when that group of people, when these people lost everything, that a lot of them would come back home to the Democrat Party, that they were losing to the Republicans. So, the Democrats are really sick people. I mean, that's basically it. They want people dependent on them. They want to hold people down. They do not want people to be successful, because if you're successful, you'll leave them, because they have the answers, right? They have the answers. They're going to give you whatever it is you need to live and pay your bills, but they want you to be dependent upon them for it. The big government, big daddy. And that's how the Democrats operate. It's how they've always operated. It's how they're operating today, and it is how they will continue to operate. But because the economy is doing so well, a lot of people that are minorities don't want the government in their life, because what happens when people start to have economic success, they start paying taxes for the first time beyond the standard payroll deductions. They start paying income taxes for the first time, or the taxes they pay are greatly increased, and they're working a lot. They love what they do. They're glad to have jobs. but they lose sympathy for people that are sitting back playing PlayStation all day. You know, and they tend to start voting Republican when they start paying income taxes, and they become resentful to the people that are sitting around doing nothing but being a gamer all day with their Twitch channel. And I can relate to that. I don't have much respect for that either. I get up in the middle of the night to be here. You know, I got a great job, but I still get up in the middle of the night to be on the radio, you know, and I really don't have a lot of respect for people that sit around and on their Twitch channel all day long thinking that's a job. All right, it's 44 minutes after the hour. Our number is toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. We'll take a break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Squares are messy adhesives ruining the taste of your food? Is it painful for you to eat? Does the constant denture movement affect your speech? Are you always worried that your dentures will fall out while you're talking or laughing? Do you have sore spots? You are not alone. These are common problems that can be solved simply with dental implants. This is Steve Kane, and I want to introduce you to Brighton Dental Care, where the Kane family goes for all our dental needs. Brighton Dental Care doesn't want cost to stop you from being able to eat the foods you love again and live in comfort. That's why, for Steve Kane listeners, they're offering implants, get this, for just $3,500. That includes 2 implants plus a lower denture. Now, if you go to a dentist in Boca or in Aventura, they're going to charge you $6,000 for the exact same implants and denture. That's right, $6,000. But at Brighton Dental Care, just $3,500, and that includes the 2 implants plus your lower denture. Laugh and live with confidence. Call Brighton Dental Care at 954-922-4633, 954-922-4633, and online at brightondentalcare.com. Be sure to ask about special discounts for our military veterans.
This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about Dr. Mitch Matez at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. He's my anti-aging doctor. That's right, I have an anti-aging doctor now. This year, I turned 45, and I was starting to slow down a bit. I met with Dr. Matez, and he found that my testosterone level was low. We men begin losing our testosterone starting at age 30, and it goes down every year after that. Dr. Matez told me I was approaching the beginning of andropause. That's the male equivalent of menopause. I began bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. They're tiny little pellets inserted under my skin, and now my testosterone levels are being restored to where they were when I was 25 years old. Thanks to Dr. Matez, I have more energy, I feel better, I look better, my love life, it's better, and my wife, she's thanking Dr. Matez too. Bioidentical hormone pellet therapy isn't just for men, it works wonders for women by reversing the symptoms of menopause, like the night sweats and the mood swings. Men and women, you don't have to live with the negative effects of aging, like loss of energy, loss of sexual desire, weight gain, or menopause. Call Dr. Matez and meet with him about bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. It works for me, and it'll work for you too. He's located in Boca, and his website is hormonetherapybocaraton.com, or give him a call, 561-953-5490, 561-953-5490, and tell him Brian Craig sent you.
This is Steve Kane. For years, I searched for the right pillow, and I could never find one that was truly comfortable. All that has changed now that I'm sleeping with My Pillow. Mike Lindell, the inventor of My Pillow, loves Donald Trump, and he loves a good night's sleep. He invented My Pillow, and there's a reason it's so popular. Very simply, it works. It keeps your head perfectly aligned with your body, so you don't wake up in the morning with headaches and neck pain. You get a perfect night's sleep. Order My Pillow using the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E,
Hold on, be right back, guys.
and save over 50% off the special 4-pack. That includes 2 premium pillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows, plus free shipping. But to get this deal, you must use the promo code KANE, Kane. Order at mypillow.com or call 1-800-toll-free 716-4879. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, or call 1-800-716-4879. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire of Margate, where they have all the major name brand tires like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Sienna van at the other tire shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the tire shops around town. Friendly Tire.
Anytime anyone asks you where you're at, don't tell them. Don't tell anybody where you're at.
Those prices are out the door.
Especially someone named Wayne Chapman.
Mounting and balancing, and no
Don't tell anybody where you're at on any of the live
Great
streams.
Selection of used tires too, at $30 for most sizes. Call my good buddy Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive, and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-94.
You shouldn't tell people, Pat. Don't tell anyone.
957-997-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. So The Hill is reporting, listen to this, the Democrat National Committee has reportedly built a trove of opposition research against President Trump in advance of the 2020 election. What could they possibly have? I'll read through this article in a minute, but what could they possibly have on President Trump that we haven't heard? You know, the problem with the left is they're always going after the I mean, they brought out a porn actress, right? Skanky Daniels. I mean, what, you know, that none of this stuff stuck. They think they have more. And even if they came up with something that was really scandalous about President Trump, it wouldn't, they've gone to that well so many times, they've lost credibility with it. You know, I remember when President Trump was talking about running for office back in 2012, in that election, before Romney and all that had the nomination, he was talking about running for president back then. And I supported him back then on the show here. I don't know how many of you were with us back then, but I was supporting him back then. But I was a little concerned at the time. I talked about this on the air. I said, you know, he seems to be like this international playboy. He's probably got an island, right? Remember that one like David Copperfield had, where he had an island where all the Victoria's Secret models live? I just assume because, you know, you see these rich celebrities like the Kennedys and Weinstein, and Donald Trump is a squeaky clean Marine. So, yeah, so the Democrats, let's see here, because they've got some information here in the Hill. The Democrat National Committee has reportedly built a trove of opposition research against President Trump in advance of the 2020 election. See, since they have no issues and their candidates are pathetic, the American people aren't supporting them and their agenda, they're going to try to play dirty. So what do they got here? The DNC has compiled its haul by sifting through nearly 7,000 lawsuits in all 50 states. The organization reportedly compiled a comprehensive document of every time Donald Trump told supporters when campaigning in 2016 that Mexico would pay for a wall along the southern border. You know, this is so interesting because, you know, with all of these turncoats like Scaramucci and everything that have gone over to the Democrats, Mexico is paying for the wall. Mexico is paying for the wall. And we talked about this during the 2016 campaign. No Trump supporter in this country thought that Mexico was going to walk up to Donald Trump with a check, open up a checkbook, and write out a big check, and in the memo put "for the wall." The renegotiation of NAFTA is how they're paying for the wall. Don't you get it? That's how they're paying for the wall. And, you know, during the campaign, the president talked about that. So, you know, that's the only thing that's going to do, that Mexico would pay for the wall, that's just going to make the Trump haters have something to talk about. We, those of us on the Trump train, understand that through this USMCA renegotiation of NAFTA, that Mexico is paying for the wall through that. You're not going to win you know, they have all these schemes and slanders all the time that the left come up with, and they think this is what'll get the Trump train. They'll jump off the Trump train with Stormy Daniels, with Robert Mueller's report, and then, oh no, Robert Mueller's going to read from his report on television. He can't read. He doesn't know what's in his own report. They've always got some scheme. All right, it goes on. The cachet of research is expected to make its way to local reporters, groups, and Democrats in battleground states, according to a source. Let's say Trump goes to Youngstown, Ohio. We have everything he said, what he promised in 2016 to that community. Maybe it's that bridge will be fixed. Then we'll show what's actually happened since, says a source. And the DNC. Oh, yeah. That's going to do it. That's going to turn a Trump supporter into a open border, abortion post-birth liberal who votes for Bernie or Biden or whoever the hell else. Additionally, the DNC reportedly has examples of how American farmers and truckers feel about Trump's tariffs. Okay, the thing about farmers, I've known farmers, being from Ohio, farmers, and I've mentioned this to you guys before. I've known farmers. Do you know what I've never known so far as a farmer? What type of farmer have I never met? There's a certain type of farmer that not only have I never met, you haven't met either, unless you lived a long time ago. And the answer to that is a poor farmer. I've never met a poor farmer. I'm not saying farmers don't work hard. Farmers, there are some farmers that work hard. Don't get me wrong, and I respect farmers and find farms interesting, and I've been on farms. But they do very well, and they do very well for a lot of reasons, the least of which is hard work. I mean, a lot of farmers get paid for not growing. They get paid by the government for growing crops that no one wants. There's that ethanol scam going on with the corn farmers, and the farmers, a lot of farmers, not all, but a lot of farmers are like, welfare people almost. A lot, not all. A lot of them are. And they don't like things being turned upside down because they're living high on the hog for doing as very little as you would. It's not like they're waking up at 4 a.m. to milk the cows every morning anymore. Okay, so that's not going to work. And so far as truckers, I don't know about that. Do truckers hate Trump? Why would truckers hate the tariffs? Because they're not driving across the border as much? I don't know. I would think a lot of long haul truckers would like the idea that they're driving in the lower 48 instead of going down to Mexico all the time. Anyway, this is what they got here. The DNC has examples of how American farmers and truckers feel about Trump's tariffs, the ongoing trade dispute with China, and the way the GOP tax law has hurt the trucking industry. How has the tax law hurt the trucking industry? Someone tell me about that. DNC Chairman Tom Perez plans to center the 2020 presidential race around Trump's performance as president, not his bigotry or awfulness, according to a source who was present at a meeting of 20 Democratic operatives and strategists where Perez spoke. The DNC has filed thousands of Freedom of Information Act requests to get even more information on Trump as the election draws closer. The Hill has reached out to the DNC for comment, which has not been returned as of yet. That's in the Hill. The Hill, by the way, pretty good publication. I get a lot. You get a lot of good information out of the Hill. Yeah. The thing with the farmers. See, I woke up to the farmers long ago. I mean, I knew farmers when I was a kid in Ohio. The farmers were. I remember taking a field trip to a farm in Ohio, and they were. I don't know. It was kind of like a tourist trap farm where the kids were there, and they were kind of dressed like Amish people. There's Amish in Ohio, But they had pretty fancy boats, I'll tell you that, at the farm that they took, I guess, to Lake Erie or the Ohio River. I don't know where they took these boats, but they're boats like you would see rich people having in Florida. But when I really woke up to farmers was when George Bush was running in 2000. And he was in Iowa. There was a Republican debate in Iowa, a Republican town hall debate in Iowa. And Governor Bush, who became President Bush, was asked a question by an Iowa farmer about does he support corn subsidies? And he says no. He says ethanol is not a viable fuel source, and I do not support corn subsidies, which was overpaying corn farmers for corn, for the ethanol, you know, and the media. Oh, you don't tell that to a farmer in Iowa. You know, this is devastating. He'll never win. He'll never get the nomination, losing Iowa like that. I don't remember if George Bush won Iowa in 2000 or not, but we know he won the election. But I realized what a scam so many farmers, not all, but a lot of farmers had. That's why a lot of rich people you hear are farmers. It's big they get subsidies and incredible tax. I've heard Glenn Beck say he's a farmer. Is Glenn Beck a farmer? A lot of celebrities own farms because of the subsidies and the tax write-offs they get. So, you know, this isn't the 30s and 40s. People don't have sympathy for farmers like they used to. We're pretty up to speed on what farmers are all about. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. It's 8 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere.
1870 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your
Steve Kane
tires.
Show.
Go easy on your budget.
Hey, Janet, hold on.
Friendly Tire of Margate, where they have all the major name brand tires like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Sienna van at the other tire shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the tire shops around town. Friendly Tire, only $65. That's more than a 50% savings. Those prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of used tires too at $30 for most sizes. Call my good buddy Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
The Steve Kane Show is sponsored by I Will Advisors, specializing in senior solutions. Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is approaching. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors and schedule your free, no obligation appointment to discuss all your Medicare options. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100
What was that?
certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in
Oh, yeah. What time is the Trump rally tonight?
With 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
The opinions expressed on the
It's in North Carolina, right?
are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
The Steve Kane Show is live in Morning Drive.
It's North Carolina, isn't it, the rally tonight?
And overnights
But I'm not sure what
till
time.
6 a.m., 7 nights a week. To call the show toll free, 1-888-GO.
All right. Third and final hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. It is Monday morning. Welcome back, everyone. No hurricanes, no holiday, no hurricanes, just a regular old week here in Florida. All right, let's check in with Janet Cimarelli over at Save a Lot Nutrition Center. Hey, Janet, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. And yes, isn't it wonderful to just have a plain old week?
Yeah.
I think so that there are a lot of people out there maybe dealing with what we've identified as post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, we've just been handling so much. And unfortunately, a lot of times all of that anxiety, that stress, that unrelenting pounding on your nervous system leaves you with digestive problems. And so I have some suggestions for people calming down their brains and then cleaning up their digestive system. I don't know if any of listeners out there figure that when we are on hurricane watch, you can kind of include what we've called comfort food, which really translates into junk food.
That's right. No, that's right. I did. We load up on potato chips and peanut butter and all those things. Yeah. Bread.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
All bets are off. So now we've got to get back into improving how we think about food. And so I'm saying go on over to Save-A-Lot and ask about Brain Armor. Brain Armor is a fabulous selection of products that actually have a beneficial calming impact on your brain. You focus, you know what's important, and you get to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
If your stomach has been bothering you, you can repair your digestive system. That's the truth. Repair your digestive system. Glutamine actually begins to heal the cells that line your digestive tract. Oh, well, you still have some discomfort. Ask about Absorbaid for your upper digestive system. Ask about Janet's Best Biotic for your lower digestive tract. And
saturated fat.
Step by step, you'll get back into the normal week.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And listen, I get all of my supplements at Save-A-Lot Nutrition Center. And Save-A-Lot has been with us for, I guess, about 2 years now, because people remember, sadly, Barry Nevins passed away and the store shut down. And Steve and I were lost for a place for our supplements. And we found Save-A-Lot Nutrition Center through Janet Cimarelli. Listen, do what we do. Get your supplements at Save-A-Lot. Stop in. They're located in Margate, just south of Sample Road, on the west side of State Road 7, 441. You can also call. They ship anywhere, not just local, but also nationwide. And I know we have listeners throughout America who purchase their supplements from Save-A-Lot. Give them a call, 754-307-1655. 754-307-1655. And, of course, Save-A-Lot listed at SteveKaneShow.com in case you missed that number. All right, Janet, we will talk tomorrow.
We will. Have a great day.
All right, take care. Take care. Yeah, there's a Trump rally tonight. Is it North Carolina? Trump rally tonight in North Carolina. And I saw a story this morning before I came to work. People have been lining up for 2 days for this particular rally. And, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Donald Trump has been on a U.S. tour that even the biggest rock star, this is bigger than Bieber Fever, bigger than, what's Taylor Swift's One World or whatever the heck that is? Donald Trump started campaigning in 2015, right? So has he been on the campaign trail with rallies for 3 years or 4 at this point? A long time. And he just, every venue, he fills it up. People wait in line for 48 hours. I posted on my Facebook page and Twitter this morning a photograph at a Bernie Sanders rally over the weekend in Iowa. Bernie Sanders is on stage, and there's a couple dozen people in a very empty room while Bernie is speaking. Okay, that's the Democrat support. That's the Democrat support. And Donald Trump, there has never been in the history of politics something like this. And you know what I would compare the Trump rallies to so far as politics go? The Lincoln-Douglas debates. Everybody talks about the Lincoln-Douglas debates. If you don't know what they are, I'm not going to tell you what they are or get into it. But that's been, the Lincoln-Douglas debates were considered like some great moment in American politics where everything changed and the debate changed. So far as slavery in this country was in those Lincoln-Douglas debates. That's how the Trump rallies are. The Trump rallies, there has never been anything like them in the history of American politics. No politician running for any office or who has held any office has done this. These are like, I would consider it to be similar to a nonstop tour by the biggest rock act ever. It's never happened before. And Donald Trump goes to the same places multiple times, and people still camp out for 2 days. This campaign spokesperson for Trump's campaign was saying that the Trump family will have a political dynasty, and they will, and that talk's going to be going around a lot. And what you're going to hear liberals say about that, Americans don't like political dynasties, really, unless it's the Clintons or the Kennedys. If it's one of their dynasties, it's okay. But no. Don Jr. is planning on running for office, and this I don't know. Is Don Jr. going to be speaking tonight before the rally starts? This is what I would recommend you do for the Trump rally. Don't watch it on television. Go on YouTube. And by the way, when you're on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Brian Craig on YouTube. I'm live streaming there right now. Live stream all the time on YouTube. But go on YouTube and subscribe to Right Side Broadcasting. Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube. Right Side Broadcasting goes to every single Trump rally, and they get there hours before it starts. And you get to see not only the crowd and the crowd size, you get to see and hear the speeches of the people that come up before the president. And Don Jr., if he's going to be there tonight, I don't know. Is Don Jr., I'm assuming he will. I don't know for sure. You've really got to listen to Don Jr. speak. Because I know a lot of times when there's a rally, even if you're watching on Right Side Broadcasting, people come out before the president and you're not really interested. But when Don Jr. comes out, listen to him. Tell me that he doesn't plan on running for federal office. I don't know what his plans are. He's planning on running for governor or senator or mayor of New York. He's got a plan to run and win an election somewhere. What office? I don't know. It would have to be Senate or governor or mayor of New York, but I don't know how that would go in New York City. He doesn't want to run for something that he's not going to win. And we have 2 Republican senators here in Florida, so it can't be Florida. But watch Don Jr. if he speaks tonight. And if you go to Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, they got some young kids that work for basically nothing and things like this that do it. But you get to see these Trump rallies as if you're there. In fact, to me, it's better. Like football, when I watch football, I enjoy watching football on television more than I do in person. For me, I can get a better feel of what's going on TV. Although you didn't want to watch that Dolphin game yesterday, did you? Oh, boy, you don't want to get a feeling for that one. Oh, boy. Is that really a professional football team? What's going on with the Miami Dolphins? I don't know anything about football, so I shouldn't even comment. But when you watch Right Side Broadcasting, you will get a feeling at a rally that you don't get anywhere else. Don't watch it on Fox or any I know they carry the rallies on One American News, and you can watch it on One American News when Trump comes on if you choose. But watch hours before Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, and you'll get a sense at these rallies that will blow your mind away. And one thing they do a lot of things on Right Side Broadcasting. They go into the crowds of people and actually interview them. People that have been waiting in line for 2 days. And sometimes they're kids. I was watching one Trump rally a few months back, and they interviewed this kid who has a YouTube channel, and he goes to all the Trump rallies. He's like 12 years old interviewing people. He's a big Trump guy. And you get to see the people that are really there and hear from these people. You don't see any of this on television. And when Don Jr. comes on, Don Jr., as crazy as this sounds, he's better than his dad sometimes, because I guess, the president's got a lot of things on his mind, Don Jr., but it's all free form. It's not like a written speech. And when Don Jr. talks, he's talking about the news and issues that are going on right now, and it's pretty amazing. So anyway, Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, and you'll get a whole feeling. And it is true, people have been lining up for 2 days for this North Carolina rally tonight. I don't know. I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine lining up for 2 days to wait for anything? I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine a thing in this world that would get me to wait outside for 2 days. It'd be hard to imagine, right? And these Trump rallies, it's not like it's a one-time event. There's going to be more, and probably more in that community, because North Carolina is an important state, and still they do it. And, there's a big difference about the people that turn up at Trump rallies as opposed to turn up at Democrat rallies, okay? When people go to Trump rallies, They pay their own way and they drive themselves there. Okay, they're not bussed in on some Acorn chartered bus where they get, they get a stipend for meals and everything else, and they put them up and they pick them up and drive them there and take them back. These are people that oftentimes take time off work, get in their own cars, and drive there at their own expense. And they feed themselves and buy their own bottled water and put themselves up in a hotel if they stay in a hotel, unlike the Democrat rallies. The Democrat rallies, these small crowds they have, they're not real. This crowd with Bernie Sanders, go on my Twitter and look at this. It's at Iowa State University. Bernie Sanders is on stage speaking. There's about 24 people in a very empty room because they were expecting a couple of thousand. They got a couple dozen. And if the media were doing their job, they would show that. In that photograph, you can see Bernie Sanders on stage at the podium speaking. This isn't what the Democrats do at Trump rallies and show empty seats in an arena 6 hours or 2 hours or 4 hours before Trump comes out. Bernie Sanders is on stage speaking at the podium, couple dozen people there wandering around an empty room at Iowa State University. And if the media were doing their job, they would cover that. And there's a lot of video of it. I posted a photograph, but there's a lot of video because people in attendance, Bernie people, were streaming and posting to social media because they feel the burn. All right, listen, we'll take our break. When we come back, much more to talk about. I'm Brian. Steve joining us. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back after this. Oh, I didn't think you were going to make it. I didn't think you'd make it. I didn't bother to keep calling you because we got that thing today. Last time I talked to you. Well.
PSA only $34.
I don't like
full cholesterol lipid panel, $28. Complete thyroid panel, $49.
Well, because we have that thing today, that's why I didn't keep bugging you.
No doctor's order or prescription. If I'm not here, it's because I'm really...
In and out in 15 minutes or less. Most results in 24 to 48 hours. Make sure to ask about their allergy testing, which includes micronutrient and environmental allergies and vitamin deficiency tests.
See that thing on Google about how Google is changing the way people accept their nations and affecting the election?
I don't buy that, though.
Are you familiar with the story?
I don't know the details of it, but they talk about that a lot, but I don't...
We should definitely talk about it.
Well, I don't understand it too much.
Well, let's, in a case like that, what we do, of course I don't know, what we do is throw it out and request some of the Richie the bus drivers to call and explain it. Because it's very, we should not stay away from it.
Get super savings on over 1,500 Toyotas during our 2020 Supra sales.
I was talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
Toyota
they're in a panic.
Hollywood has one of the largest selections of 2020 Supra launch editions in the country. Plus, we're selling 2019 Toyotas at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when you
One more.
50% less. A real 2019 Camry LE, not 26,000, 18,775.
I gotta do one more though.
2019 Corolla LE, not 22,000, 13,775. Get super savings during our 2020 Supra sales event at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about Dr. Mitch Matez at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. He's my anti-aging doctor. That's right, I have an anti-aging doctor now. This year, I turned 55, and I was starting to slow down a bit. I met with Dr. Matez, and he found that my testosterone level...
There's none in there?
Low. We men begin losing our testosterone starting at
I don't.
30, and it goes down every year after that. Dr.
They
Matez
give you this
told me
envelope to
the
write on it.
beginning of andropause. That's the male equivalent of andropause.
Well, I got some around. I just can't reach it right now. I can't. No, there's some around. I just don't. I just can't get up to get it.
Are being restored to where they were when I was 25 years old. Thanks to Dr. Matez, I have more energy, I feel better, I look better, my love life, it's better, and my wife, she's thanking Dr. Matez too. Bioidentical hormone pellet therapy isn't just for men, it works wonders for women by reversing the symptoms of menopause, like the night sweats and the mood swings.
Not
Men
Facebook,
and
what
women.
is it?
You don't have to
You're talking about Google?
negative effects of aging, like loss of energy, loss of sexual desire, weight gain, or menopause. Call Dr. Matez and meet with him about bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. It works for me, and it'll work for you too. He's located in Boca, and his website is hormonetherapybocaratone.com. Or give him a call, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. And tell him Brian Craig sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWN.
There you go. You open.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Nice to be here this morning, listening to Brian on the way in. Fascinating show. There are definitely wild and crazy times we live in. And
Oh, that's for
of
sure.
course, and especially wild and crazy times we had the beginning of football season, first week of football season. How about them Patriots? And amazing.
I didn't, I watched, only thing I watched was about 10 seconds of the Miami Dolphins yesterday. And I was wondering, is that a professional football outfit? I'm ashamed
to admit I shouldn't really do this.
I saw the score.
I will. I'll be honest. I mean, it makes me look stupid. But what the heck? You have to take risks. Isn't that what I always taught you? Take risks on the air. That's what people want to hear. I actually placed a bet on Miami yesterday.
To lose?
No, I don't have place
By
bets.
60
That's
points?
the,
Whatever it
That's
was.
the racetrack. You can
Yeah.
play. That would actually be a pretty good bet.
Yeah.
And this week, Miami is playing the Patriots.
Oh, that'll be great.
Well, Patriots always find a way to, or the Dolphins always find a way to stay.
Well, you told me something about the Dolphins. See, I don't know enough about football to have an intelligent conversation about it, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But there's, with the Dolphins, I'm at the point now where I think that the Miami Dolphin organization does not really intend to win anything and really aren't interested in
Well,
that.
if there was any question
And-
about it yesterday, should have
It's
put
like-
the icing on the
Yeah.
cake. But that's not,
Well, you told me something about the Dolphins that was that really shows you not how stupid the organization is, but how they really don't care about winning. You had told me that in the past the Dolphins do well in the first part of the season during the home games because of the heat, sun, and humidity in South Florida,
correct. And by
and
the
that
way,
and that the northern teams aren't used to, that they practice in, and they put that partial roof on Joe Robbie. I still call it Joe Robbie, on Joe Robbie on the Dolphin Stadium, which took away their advantage because now it's shade field, so their advantage in the heat and humidity. You told me that when they first had that roof up, that it takes away their advantage, and they have not been doing as well in the couple of seasons, I think, in the first half as they did before the roof.
well, this is not a very well kept secret. The idea that the Dolphins at the beginning of the season, especially when they're playing in early games,
The Florida humidity's tough.
It's the humidity.
Yeah, the humidity, if you're not used to it.
There was no amount of humidity that could save the Dolphins yesterday. It was a disgusting.
Now that was the
At least the 15 minutes before I tuned off.
was that the practice team that was out there playing?
No, that was the real team.
That was the real team. That wasn't like the second team that they practiced with.
What were we gonna say to this?
Yeah.
How about them Patriots?
That was really the first stringers out there
They
playing
went to-
yesterday.
4 years. This will be the 4th year in a row.
Yeah.
that I make season bets. You know that. I mean, occasionally I'll play around with some of the games, but for the most part, I bet before the season starts. And for the last 4 years, I've had the Patriots, which is turning. I think I'll be able to retire eventually if things keep up like this, because everybody
Yeah.
keeps waiting for the Patriots to lose. They never lose.
Well, Cully in the chat said the Dolphins only are interested in holding the Super Bowl at the stadium. That I would say so. That's why they did all the renovations. I mean, how can they? Miami's a major market. How can they not have like a competitive football team in a major
Because
market?
every team is different in terms of the management and in terms of how the management is willing to.
Well, what does that mean? Because people always say that the management. What does
Money
that mean?
Is what, in a word, money. In other words, there are those that will spend whatever it takes to get a winning team. I would say Mr. Kraft is in that.
They paid $90 million to that quarterback that got hurt and didn't play for 2 years. Remember, he was right out of college, and
Well,
yeah.
and there are examples, isolated examples like that.
Remember, his wife had the gun. Got in some trouble with a gun in her car. Yeah, I don't understand. Don't they have this basically the same budget for a team?
No.
No.
Some teams, and other teams, for example, when in baseball, because there were certain similarities between baseball and football. In baseball, when the first year that the Miami Marlins won the World Series, which was a big upset, and they put together a team of people that didn't figure to be that great, but turned out to be great.
Yeah.
And they had all these stars, and at the end of the year, after winning the World Series, they traded away all their stars, which is when I and most people stopped going to the Miami baseball game.
Well, now again,
the owner didn't care.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just asking. I really don't. Is it possible that they want to lose, that it's like a tax write-off? Like what do they call it, tax shelter?
No.
I mean, come on. Wouldn't you be embarrassed as an owner? I saw the coach. I mean, when I saw the very end, and the coach walked. Who were they playing yesterday? I forgot even who they were playing. The Dolphins, and he goes out after. Yeah, the Ravens. He goes out to the Ravens coach. You don't think that guy was humiliated? The coach. He just got destroyed.
They has to be pretty negative vibes around.
Oh my goodness.
Team around now.
Oh man.
But don't be shocked if they turn up a good performance against. They always play tough against the Patriots.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I started to talk about something?
One guy in my family thinks that the NFL is like professional wrestling in highlight, that it's fixed. I don't think it's fixed.
But the secret of at least what I claim is my secret, although I'm certainly not the only one who's been playing the Patriots for the last 4 years, but it has to do with the coach. He's a very extra special genius.
I'm talking about the Patriots.
And Brady, who evidently has discovered something. We're going to turn Brady on to Janet, because Brady has discovered a certain diet or a regimen or something like that keeps him young no matter how old he gets.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting better and better.
So you're saying that the Dolphins don't want to pay what they got to pay to get a top tier team?
I mean, I don't follow the Dolphins that closely anymore. If I'd followed them more closely, I probably wouldn't have bet on yesterday's game. But
What an embarrassment.
I was starting to talk about something that was political. I don't know how we got sidetracked onto the topic.
You were talking about your gambling.
Google. There was a thing on Fox.
Yeah.
Google, it's hard for me to describe because I was so confused about it.
Yeah.
But something that Google is doing something that could win elections for Democrats.
Yeah, I do know, and I'll throw this out to people in the audience. I don't buy that. But okay, because you don't know.
What are they saying?
Well, let me explain to you what Google is, so you can, because Steve doesn't use the internet, people. So I got to explain. Google is the #1 search engine. Okay, whenever you look up something on the internet, you go to Google. Although I found another one called DuckDuckGo, which is a conservative search engine. And what happens with Google when you search for something on the search engine, it pushes results to you that are not necessarily the best result that you're looking for, and
it sends you to articles.
Right? Well, if it's news, it can be about anything. It refers you to things, no matter what you're searching for.
That have what they're contending, from what I could understand, which was not a lot.
Okay, when they talk about politics, when people are searching for politics, they're typically searching on Google for news.
The guy who invented Google.
No, I'm explaining it to you. I mean, okay, when you search for something, regardless of what it is, you could be looking for how to, put carpet in your house. Whatever you're searching for on Google, which is the #1 search engine that most everyone uses, it pushes results to you that are not necessarily the best results that you're looking for. Well, I'm explaining. Okay. I'm explaining it. So what a lot of it is done by is advertising. companies pay them to have their search results come up first. So they've had this algorithm to do that forever because that's how they make money. So what they've done with that, well, I'm telling you, you got to listen for seconds. I'm trying to tell you. You keep asking me to tell you. I'm explaining how it works. So when Google was invented, it had an algorithm for advertising to push results that they desired to you. So if I'm looking to put carpet in my home, it's going to push results to me that are based on advertisers that are paying. When it comes to politics, they use that advertising algorithm to push the desired perspective and news stories that they want you to read. So you're going to get, if you...
Could that account, I mean, the first thing that came into my head, if it was true, and I take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt, because you know me and the internet. If it were true, maybe it would account for these crazy polls where everybody is showing up voting Democrat.
Well, I want to do a test of it now. So what they're suggesting is when you search for something in the news that Google is suppressing conservative thought and pushing to you liberal thought. So so there's a Donald Trump rally tonight. So let me Google, let's just see what happens. Let's just do a test. Donald Trump rally tonight. Let me Google Donald Trump rally tonight, and let's see what Google sends to me, okay? And we can see how biased it is, okay? The first two stories, okay, I just typed in Donald Trump rally tonight, and I searched for it on Google. A CBS story. The second story is a CBS story. The third story is a CNN story.
So they've got all liberal points of view.
Correct. You know, and it goes down. I don't see any.
Well, then it is true.
You know, I don't see. And then the first page is all liberal. The last one's Politico. Nothing from Fox. Nothing from Breitbart. HuffPost, BuzzFeed. These are all liberal outlets.
Horrifying.
No, it's not. I mean, I know people say it is, but
how do you account for that? I mean, you got to admit that polling has been very bizarre.
The polls are lies and meaningless. They make up the results. That had nothing to do with Google.
Well, you're saying it has nothing to do with Google, but when you Google the rally tonight, all the stuff that comes up is from the left's perspective.
Okay, well, now there's another search engine that conservatives use that I just started using. It's been around for about 12 years, but conservatives use it. And all the conservative websites like the Gateway Pundit that feel oppressed by Google, they're all promoting DuckDuckGo, which is another search. So let me type in and see what comes up there. Okay, let's find out. So I'll put in Trump, Donald. Same thing I put in the other one. Donald Trump rally tonight. So this is in DuckDuckGo. Let's see what comes up in DuckDuckGo. First story is Bloomberg. Second story, KGOAM out of
Bloomberg is anti-Trump.
Yeah. The second one's a San Francisco radio station story. The third one, Dallas Observer.
San Francisco has to be anti-Trump.
Yeah. Fourth one, The Hill. Then a CNBC story, Boston Globe, Tampa Bay Times, Tampa Bay. So I don't Politico. So I'm using the conservative alternative and getting a similar result.
But that's not where people are going.
Most people that get news and information from the internet don't just go and let them and read the news that they're fed to by Google. Liberals may do that, but not Trump people. I don't think the effect is all that strong as they claim. I don't worry about it. Steve Kane Show.
All right.
Hey.
I would love if there's anybody out there. Obviously, I mean, usually I'm the one that's weak on all this stuff. And yes, I am weak on this internet thing as well, but it seems that I'm not the only.
No, I'll tell you why it helps. I think it helps. Okay, I'm not saying that the internet groups don't censor conservatives. Okay, they do, and there's a lot of conservative sources that are completely suppressed, like the Gateway Pundit and others. Okay, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm saying it helps us because
that's not what I'm talking
because people are aware of it. People are aware of it.
I'm concerned about what people are not aware of, where they read something that they think is a objective news article of Google, and I'm worried about the people that do not allow for the bias.
I mean, I would say, yeah, well, I agree with you that everything online is liberally biased to suppress conservative thought. There is no doubt about it. The shadow banning, all that stuff is real, but it helps us because it rallies the Trump people together more as a coherent group.
I can see that as a possibility, but also it seems to me it's that group in the middle that are not politically sophisticated. And there are a lot of those people in America, I trust. Obviously, anybody that's participating in these polls we're reading now that has all the Democrats beating
That's
Trump.
absurd.
Well, it is absurd, but maybe the Google thing, and it seems to me actually that the Google thing is the only way I can even account for that.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. I'm not saying it's not a problem. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I don't see it changing people's minds.
You're saying, is that the same as you saying you don't think it's affecting the polls?
The difference between you and I on the polls is I believe the polls are fake. I think the polls we see on television and things are fake. I don't trust the results. How can these Democrats, they got Biden 2-digit leads against Trump in a lot of these? That doesn't, no way.
It doesn't even Beto or whatever.
That's like come on.
All right. I'm weak on this, obviously. You say...
I think it helps us because it rallies us together.
I think what we need is somebody that has the answer to this, that can call in objectively and help us with this puzzle we're facing here this morning. If you would like to be that person, we're going to take a break and you can get online and we'll take your calls when we get back. 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-GO-CANE KANE, and the number 1. We'll be back with your calls after this.
Medicare open enrollment is quickly approaching.
Hold on.
Make sure you get the right coverage. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Denture wearers, are messy adhesives ruining the taste of your food? Is it painful for you to eat? Does the constant denture movement affect your speech? Are you always worried that your dentures will fall out while you're talking or laughing? Do you have sore spots?
Don't take any calls until I tell you. I got a couple of cranks, so if there's a call to take, I will tell you.
I want to introduce you to Brighton Dental Care, where the Kane family goes for all our dental needs. Brighton Dental Care doesn't want cost to stop you from being able to
See, what it does is it makes us oppressed victims, and that always rallies people. Makes us stronger.
For just $3,500, that includes 2 implants plus a lower denture. Now, if you go to a dentist in Boca or an Avatar, they're going to charge you $6,000 for the exact same implants and denture. That's right, $6,000.
Steve Kane Show.
But at Brighton Dental Care, just
Hey, Doug, hold on.
$3,500, and that includes the 2 implants.
But let me tell you about the call, because there's a couple of cranks I've been dealing with all morning. I just don't want to.
Call Brighton Dental Care at 954-922-4633, 954-922-4633, and online at BrightonDentalCare.com.
We'll talk about it between the two of us a little bit more.
For our military veterans.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire of Margate, where they have all the major name brand tires like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's Tires or Sienna
Steve Kane
Van
Show.
at the other tire shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the tire shops around town. Friendly Tire, only $65. That's more than a 50% savings. Those prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of used tires too, at $30 for most sizes. Call my good buddy Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online at friendlytire.net.
Well, to me, it seems like you should get up earlier, like I do. It gives you more time for that to happen.
I could never find one that was truly comfortable. All that has changed now that I'm sleeping with my pillow. Mike Lindell, the inventor of My Pillow, loves Donald Trump, and he loves a good night's sleep. He invented My Pillow, and there's a reason it's so popular. Very simply, it works. It keeps your head perfectly aligned with your body, so you don't wake up in the morning with headaches and neck pain. You get a perfect night's sleep. Order My Pillow using the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, and save over 50% off the special 4-pack. That includes 2 premium pillows and 2 go-anywhere pillows, plus free shipping. But to get this deal, you must use the promo code KANE, KANE. Order at mypillow.com or call 1-800-toll-free 716-4879. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, or call 1-800-716-4879.
I don't know how we got messed up on our break.
Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E.
I don't understand. I don't know what happened. All right, we're back. All right, we're back. We're back. You want to take some calls? Take some calls. All right, we got Greg on the line. He'll know about the Google.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Good. Greg, hey, what's with you? Can I ask you how you're doing? Before we.
I'm doing fine. I got a job that I didn't really want to take. That my brother-in-law's mother died, and he wanted to redo her whole condo. So I've been working on that for like 3 months.
Holy cow!
So,
Well, we're back in football season. Are I going to have you as a resource?
Yeah, I'm done now. I just
Do you have my home phone? You have my home.
I did everything. I tore all the cabinets, bathrooms, everything, man. So,
Do you have my home phone?
No.
I'm gonna at the end of this call, Brian will pick up, and he'll give you my home phone, and you call me later today at home. All right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Listen. But first of all, I just want to say that after getting Antonio Brown yesterday, now if he behaves, because he's always been a problem wherever he's gone, but he's probably one of the top receivers in the league for sure.
I think he knows. I think he knows this is his last stop. Don't you? Wouldn't you guess?
Arrogance is a stubborn thing for some of these guys, some of these superstars. But we'll see. But you know what? What did you get the Patriots at this year?
5 or something like 5 or 6 to 1, someone in that area.
I heard them talking yesterday on TV. It was 7 to 1 in some books, and then after they got Antonio Brown, it went down to 4 to 1.
Yes, yeah, I heard that. I heard that this morning.
Okay.
It was definitely a break.
Google
There's
thing.
no question.
I don't use Google. I use AOL search engine, and I just punched in racist. Okay, that's the only word I punched in for my search. And the first video they have is Donald Trump racist inside story, and then down to about 4 articles. It says here are 13 examples of Donald Trump being racist.
Well, one of the things they do, that makes sense because the way the news is today, that's like a very common news story. So that's why but what they do is when you're on a search engine and you type in something, like let me type in, it gives you suggestions. Like let me type in Google and see what the suggestions are. If I type in Donald Trump, it gives me all of these suggestions. Donald Trump age, Donald Trump Jr., Donald Trump racist, so they suggest things to you that also fill their agenda. But I was telling Steve, Greg, during the break, I think it helps us because as a group, because it makes us oppressed victims, and that always rallies us together. Really?
Yeah.
Well, Trump has over 50 million followers just on Twitter. Plus, he's huge on Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. When Donald Trump tweets out something, look at what happened last week with Sharpiegate. When he tweets out something, he has a complete control of the entire news media narrative, not just on television, but on the internet too. I don't see it really affecting us in a negative way.
Let me ask you this, Greg. Do you think it has anything to do with these, what we can, most of us consider bizarre results on these election polls?
Like the double-digit Biden lead?
Like every one of these loser Democratic candidates beats Trump in the polls. Do you think that Google has anything to do with that? Why did they do that? Why did they do that? So it's but it's working, is what you're saying. If all the polls against this collection of losers the Democrats have put together, if all the polls have these losers beating Donald Trump in a general election, an imaginary general election matchup, then I would say that it's working.
Of either very few are registered voters, most are just Americans. So
Steve Kane Show.
Well, that's what makes it scary.
Well, wait a minute. Those polls, okay, hold on a second. You're talking about the polls that have like Biden double digits, even you saw one.
Yeah.
No one does anyone believe that those polls are real, incredible polls?
Well, I don't know. Go ahead.
How can yesterday did you see this video of Joe Biden over the weekend when he was touching this woman that he was talking to, and then she came out afterwards and talked about how inappropriate he was and how you have to ask for permission first?
I didn't see. What was that?
At one of his rallies, he was asked a question by a lady, and he went up and held her hand. And was he holding her hand and then had his other hand over her hand? It was like he was getting ready to make love to her.
Like he's trying to get thrown out. It looks to me.
I think his thrill is how he's like a flasher. How much he can get away with in public. It seems to be what he's. Well, the woman whose hand he was holding. Yeah. Well, the woman whose hand he was holding yesterday, to me, again, it looked as if he was like not just holding her hand, but kind of like rubbing her. It was like it was sexual.
Well, maybe he's looking to.
In my opinion,
he's looking to have this thing go away.
I was talking to this one deputy who came to one of our appearances, who was a sex crimes deputy, came to one of our appearances at Wings Plus. And I was talking to her about it because she was in some high-profile stories I'd seen her in the news. And she says, these guys, they can't stop what they're doing. They just do it over again. I think he's a out-of-control pervert, and he can't control himself. I don't think he's trying to get thrown out of the race. I think he's carried on like this his whole life, and he can't handle it. Well, he found fun when he was rubbing the lady's hand yesterday. He looked like he was having a good time then. Break. Cold report.
And I'm hoping that happens because I just can't see this country, as much as they hate Trump, the half the country, voting for socialism. I just can't see it.
Please. I mean, Joe Biden couldn't beat Donald Trump in a presidential election in a million years. And let me run. I'm going to put you on hold, put Greg on hold. Call me later today. I'll be home, dinner time, something like that. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. We'll be back after this. If you're planning on making to your Medicare plan or prescription drug plan now is
I have to give him your number because of the live feeds. I can't give out your phone number. I'm not going to shut down the live
Find
feeds.
a way to make this happen.
I got his number. I'll just ask and make sure I got it. Hold on.
That's why I'm glad to have you as an agent. Why is it important people call you now?
Well, open enrollment begins October 15th through December 7th, and it's the one time a year where Medicare allows you to make changes to your Medicare Advantage plans or your prescription drug plans. We can start discussing the new options available to you anytime after October 1st.
So the sooner the better, right?
Absolutely.
Is your number the 695 number?
Tell people to come in and there's
Okay, I'm gonna give it. I can't give Steve's out because I've got the live streams coming. I'll give him
Absolutely.
yours.
We go out of our way to educate everybody on all their options. We go to your
Okay.
home. We'll meet you at a coffee shop if you're more comfortable.
Yes.
Or of course you're welcome to come
Yeah,
to our
the 6. Okay, you got it. Okay, all right. Take care. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
They can get a hold of you. And folks, now is the time to do it. Don't leave things till the last minute. Everything goes wrong when you leave things till the last minute. How can they make that appointment, Ted?
Absolutely. Give us a call. Our number
I'm gonna
is
text him your number. You said to text him your number later.
954-753-8080.
You're in good hands with Debbie, and give her a call. When you do, be sure to tell her Steve Kane sent you.
Hey there. All right, hold on.
This is Roger.
Okay,
Simon,
Youngerman.
reverse mortgage specialist at South Florida's Choice Mortgage Bank.
I don't know how we got behind on the
Reverse
brakes in this
mortgages
hour. I
can
don't know
be
what
a
happened.
Very valuable financial vehicle for seniors. I truly changed their lives for the
Oh,
better.
man.
In fact, I have a reverse mortgage myself, and it's certainly improved my life. Everyone's situation, of course, is different, but I've found over and over
Can we
that
do
reverse
another hour on
mortgage
the
can
internet?
solve
No, we're not
many
gonna do another hour on the-
serious
no, no.
problems. It's a valuable tool to allow you.
But
to
we won't be on
age
the
in
air.
place. And if you're a senior like me,
No.
that's a
We'll be on
primary
your
goal.
thing.
No,
By
that's
aging in
ridiculous.
place,
When we were doing it
you get
before, we were
financial
uploading it
freedom to
online on
stay in the
something. No,
home
that's
you
crazy.
love For the rest of your life. So if you own your home with or without a mortgage, if you want to know how a reverse mortgage can change your life by giving you the financial freedom you need, find out how by giving me a call anytime at 561-441-2730. That's 561-441-2730. I look forward to hearing from you.
Rates and terms subject to change daily.
Used to be nice if we had Greg back.
NMLS 166.
You know, me and Greg are oil and water.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, the moment I have certainly been waiting for, the Gold Report, the Monday Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman of William Youngerman Inc. William, as you know, one of the world's leading experts on the precious metals. We are blessed to have him here each day at this time on the Steve Kane Show. And let's find out what's happening. William, what's it looking like?
Oh, looking good today, Steve. Last week as we had a good test of the support levels on gold and silver, gold getting down to the $1,500 level twice and then recovering, and silver also testing this support level just under $18 and then recovering, gave us some good support for markets going forward this week. We'll see how that plays out. But right now we saw gold close out Friday at $1,506.50. Silver maintained above $18 to close at $18.22. Platinum closed at $9.48, and palladium closed out the week at $15.22. This morning we've got gold up $7.20 at $1,513.70 the ounce. Silver is just down 2 cents right now at $18.20, while platinum is up $10 at $9.58. And palladium is up $20 at $15.42. The U.S. dollar index is a little bit weaker, showing a little weakness in the dollar, the index being at 98.24. So that should give us a little fuel for going forward. We'll see if the markets can maintain these support levels this week and build back up towards those highs that we saw last week.
So does that mean, as I try to translate all this in my mind, does that mean this is a good buying opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you can get down close to these major support levels in the metals, is always a good buying opportunity.
All right. And, of course, if people have any precious metals, even if they're not coins or anything like that, if you have anything made of silver or platinum, a piece of jewelry perhaps, you are in the market to buy as well as sell precious metals, right?
That's correct. Yes, for over 50 years, we make a good two-way market in all of the precious metals, regardless of the form that it's in. So bring it on in. We'll be glad to give you a free appraisal on jewelry that you're not wearing anymore. and take advantage of turning it into cash or into some nice tradable form of gold and silver.
It sounds like a good buying opportunity. I may try to get up there later today if I can. You should too, folks. Drop by and see William. He's been advising clients on trends and movement in the precious metals markets now for, I think it's like 52 years. And those of you who followed his advice certainly understand what I'm talking about. You have a smile on your face, and today's a good day to enhance your investment. William Youngerman, located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. That's the Bank of America building. You'll find William on the first floor directly across from the bank. You can reach him by phone at 1-800-327-5010 or go to the website at williamyoungerman.com. When you're in there, ask for Dave or John, and they'll be glad to help you out. Of course, William also, a bunch of good people there, and you can trust what you're doing. So, William, we'll talk tomorrow, all right? You take care, my friend.
All right. Want to take some more calls?
Yeah.
All right. Nick in Baltimore.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, Steve, Brian. How you guys doing?
Good.
Two things I wanted to mention to you. You were talking about probably the Levin show last night, right? With
Yes.
that guy on.
That's who it was. You're right.
Okay. Well, he's right, because what's happening is that what he's talking about is people who are like independents or like on the fence and are dissatisfied with both parties. You do a search, and what comes up at the top is all this liberal stuff and, liberal candidates. Look at what Brian just pulled up. CNN, BuzzFeed, all that. So it's true. We got to think, go back to the midterms, 2018 midterms. Remember during the day, Nancy Pelosi came out and said, we have the data, we're going to win the House. We have the data.
And they did.
Yeah, so what that means is Google and all these other outfits are feeding them the data. They're helping the Democrats. Now, nobody worries about that collusion, do they?
Well, see, this is the thing that's really scary is that, all this internet stuff, Steve, tracks you everywhere you go and everywhere you walk. And it knows everything you do. They even listen in on your conversation. I mean, they just had a thing the other day about Amazon Alexa recording people having sex and workers listening to it in people's bedrooms. So they have tremendous amount. Everyone's home is bugged, and everywhere you go, you're monitored 24/7. Everything you do, say, and talk about. Yeah. And so what Nick is saying, I think, Nick, if I'm wrong, correct me, is that all of this data that we're talking about, where they monitor even when you have sex, literally, this was out over the weekend, is being fed to the Democrats for their election strategy, so they know who to target and how to target a little more in a little more detail.
How does me having sex?
I say that because that's how much they know about you. They know what they know what conversations you are having. They know how to target you. And if you go, like, I was telling this to Steve a while back. I think I talked about this on the air. My wife was in the hospital recently, and we were talking to a nurse, and she had mentioned where she went to nursing school, which was an off-the-wall kind of place. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting notices on Instagram about that particular school that we had this private conversation about. They have data on everything you do, say, and think, because you're searching online, and they're feeding that information to the Democrats, which is pretty valuable stuff. It's not like the old mail list days. Well, okay. The thing about it is, I think that I don't get upset about it is because it seems to be one of those issues that we can't do much about.
Well, I would say if it's true, if you take
the
theory and assume it's factual for the sake of argument, it knocks our whole democracy into a cocked hat.
Yeah. But what do you do about it?
Well, what good is that do us.
There needs to be like a conservative billionaire like Don Jr. who has that does an
is working the other side.
well no. What I mean is what we need is someone like Don Jr. to get a group of major investors and have a true alternative to these things. No one's had an alternative to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google. There's never been a real legitimate alternative to it. And that's the only solution.
Let me ask you this. Is there any chance that the advantage we have on Twitter with Trump balances out or evens out the advantage they seem to have with
Google?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm very selective in what I watch and where I go for my sources, my news sources.
I'm not asking that. That's not the question. The question is the average Joe Schmo, from middle America that doesn't know anything about politics. That's who I'm worried about. All right. Okay.
Right at time.
Thank you for telling me that the problem I brought up is a problem. Okay. All right. Something like that. We may pick this up tomorrow because I'm not satisfied with the end of this program today. So we will pick up where we left off tomorrow. Till then, on behalf of Brian, I'm Steve. God bless America.
All right, guys. See you later.